Welcome everybody. If you are waiting, thank you so much for the patience. If you're just coming here now, welcome to Money in Markets by GNN, Gaming Nest News. I'm the Commissioner. A bit of a test pilot episode here, so expect things to not work and things to be a little bit glitchy. Trying to fix everything. There is one promise that I will make to you right now, and that is every single episode something will be fixed or something will change in a good way, not in a bad way. We want to take all the feedback from everybody and basically improve upon all of our shows. And as the Commissioner of Nest, I basically want to say that that goes across the field for every episode that we're going to be doing from here on. Basically, if you have feedback, please let us know in the chat. That's very important for us to basically know about. So let me just introduce what we're actually going to be talking about today. So this is Money in Markets. So we're going to be talking about gaming, but we're going to be talking about gaming in a different way. A lot of people are trying to get into the stock market lately, looking into investments, basically trying to invest in an industry that they truly believe is going to expand, and most importantly, things that they've seen are already expanding. And because of this, we wanted to offer on our side a little bit of insight, and we wanted to give it a bit of flair. Obviously, with the markets and with people's investments, this is your money. And if you truly do believe that esports is the next big thing to be investing in, maybe it's space too, we're going to be focusing on gaming stocks in particular. Now, I just want to make a quick disclaimer that I tell basically everyone when they're asking me about stocks, it's your money. You do what you want to do with it. I'm only just giving observations right here. I will not give any specific positions that I am holding on to right now. I will not talk about any positions that I'm shorting. I will perhaps just say like what I might do, but I'm not saying that I am actually doing that. So if you're looking for someone to follow into a trade, I don't want to lose you money. I want to make sure that you're safe and protected, but at the same time, I'm no investment advisor. I'm not your stockbroker. I'm not certified to basically manage your money. So make sure that you're managing your own money, take the education that you can get, and basically let me just kind of show you some observations. And I can't guarantee my 100% accuracy. The stock market is a very volatile place. So again, take that with a grain of salt. And if you do have any suggestions, or you want me to look up something, maybe there's a stock that I haven't been able to, I haven't seen on my radar, because there are quite a few gaming stocks out there, a lot of things that are going on lately. So basically, let's just get right into the meat of this show. And on your screen right now, you're going to be basically seeing what I see every single day. I usually watch these charts, but we will try to improve that so it is a little bit more visually appealing perhaps in the future. So let's just talk about what happened today in the stock market. So if we look at the SPX, S&P index, we basically got a 0.81% increase, which was excellent. Definitely a great increase, and that had something to do with the Yellen testimony that everyone was really interested in watching. Basically, a lot of pull towards coronavirus relief bills, everything like that. So if you are interested in kind of what's going on with the government, definitely it is going to affect gaming stocks as well, primarily because with the lockdown and everything that's going on as of lately, a lot of people are invested into playing video games. And if they are playing video games, that means that all of these stocks are definitely going to go up because they're going to be investing in buying the games. Now take this into effect as well. One important thing that hasn't been talked about in this entire lockdown is basically a lot of gamers are actually being able to play older games that they haven't been able to complete. Because, I mean, when you're working a 40-hour job, sometimes you can't complete that, like, Fallout 3 game. You can't complete out Fallout New Vegas. These are epic games, and they take up a lot of time. And Fortnite's very casual, which is nice. You can get into it. Call of Duty as well. You can always kind of jump in and jump out. But as for everything else, it's definitely very, very sporadic. And with the whole lockdown, I think a lot of people have been able to actually play games a lot more often. So keep that into effect when you're thinking about investing as well, because a lot of companies have done very, very well during this lockdown. In fact, if you look at them from March, you will see a lot of increasing. But let's just do kind of a rundown of what happened today. Obviously, it's well, we are live, so it's 4:31 right now. It is after market. Any sort of observations I see, I'll try to kind of get on top of it, but mostly everything's kind of closed down for right now. And I have a little bit of a list to run down, and if you're interested in watching these as well, feel free to take them down. I'll always tell you what the stock symbol is for everything that we're talking about. So just for the big gainers today, let's talk about Fandom Sports, sorry. And that's FDM on the Canadian market, basically. So if you are trading Canadian equities, Fandom Sports is FDM for the Canadian equities market right now. It did a 4-cent increase, which is, I mean, it's a very small stock. Its market cap, I think, is only about 8 million. Basically, this thing is a bit jumpy. It's not something I know very much about. I've been trying to do a little bit of research into a lot of these stocks, and the one concern that I have for every stock, and if you're looking to do penny stocks, a lot of people think that you're going to get a huge yield and a huge return. There's some penny stocks that won't move for years. And, you know, if you look at a lot of pharmaceuticals, not that I want to compare esports to pharmaceuticals, but a lot of them might not move the way you want them to. Yes, a 17% increase is great, but I mean, you might be waiting for a while. If you are a day trader, probably not the stock you want to be looking at. If you are an investor and happen to know something about this company, something you maybe look into. But I don't know a whole lot about this one. I will, like I said, every single show we'll try to improve and get a little bit more information. But this one just kind of popped up on my radar recently just because it did increase so much. But Fandom Sports up 17.39%. We have Allied Esports Entertainment, which is actually up 17.09%. That is on the American equities market as AESE. So that's AESE for Allied Esports Entertainment. Basically, there was a bit of news today that there was a sale to the World Poker Tour to Element Partners. We also have Allied Esports Entertainment announces a sale of the World Poker Tour to Element Partners LLC. So that's basically what is kind of driving up that price right there. Again, 27 cents. It is at $1.85. Something kind of interesting to start noting is that it does fluctuate quite a bit. So it has been going up and down, up and down. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not looking too far back. In fact, actually, let's see if we can zoom out a little bit more in regards to the period that we're seeing. We're going to look at the 3-month chart here. As you can see, bit of a tough time. I'm not 100% sure what happened right there. This doesn't look like a stock split. It looks like a pretty brutal ending for them. But as you can see, it is trading quite low. Unless they have some particular value, not something that I'm particularly interested in. I try to avoid these penny stocks and everything like that. But if you are looking at them, and again, like I said, I'll try to bring more research. This is just a test pilot right now. We'll talk a little bit more about what they have to offer and what these deals actually mean. EGLX, actually, this is one that I have a slight bit of authority to talk on. EGLX for the past while absolutely blew up after November and has basically skyrocketed from, I like to take the higher number, but 174 all the way up to 702 today, ending the day at $7.02, up $1, up 16.61%. EGLX is a interesting company primarily because they actually held a lot of events here in Toronto for conventions. The other thing is that they are very focused on acquiring a lot of various different internet websites. I believe that they had Destructoid, if you're familiar with that. They basically have the Sims Resource, a whole plethora of different companies. The only thing is that they have a lot of debt, so I'm not 100% sure what keeps driving up the price. I know that as of recently, for this month and for the past week, what really drove it up was the deal that they signed with Samsung, which was a multi-platform sponsorship. So pretty big news for them there. Obviously, the market cap's over $500 million now, like 600 million or something like that. Absolutely ridiculous amounts going in there. But it is definitely one that a lot of people were rewarded with if they were invested in it in November. I'm not sure if it's particularly worth it right now. It has a lot of esports stocks have really taken off in an insane direction, but we will kind of be watching EGLX in the future and from now on just to see where it basically goes. We have GameStop. Let's talk about GameStop. There is a huge, and this is one of my regrets. Obviously, looking at a chart, hindsight is 2020. But I mean, looking at this chart from August, even not even August, let's just say September. I mean, going up from $10 all the way up to like 39, 36, ending on today, up 10.87%, $3.86. Basically, this thing has just rocketed ever since the Chewy, I think it was Cone, that is basically going to try to, I think what they're trying to do is position it to be the next Steam. So they might actually be trying to take on Valve to become a dominant distributor of video games. The interesting thing about that is a lot of video game distributors, let's say EA, you have Activision, everything like that, Epic Games, they all have their own digital storefront. So I'm not 100% sure kind of how their distribution model is going to be working. I personally haven't been to a GameStop or EB Games when the last time I went for the longest amount of time. So I'm very curious to see what their model is actually going to be, but that is actually what's been driving up this price this entire time, is this whole anticipation that these guys might be the next distributors. Their game sales and consoles and everything have been excellent. They've been reporting a 309% increase in e-commerce sales for the 9-week holiday period, so that is absolutely huge. And also they are refreshing their board, basically pushing out kind of the old ideas and trying to implement some new ones. So that is definitely driving up the price. A lot of short sellers though, so definitely be careful with that one. I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but there is a short squeeze a lot of these times. It's, you know, the worst part is just before this entire huge spike, just 2 weeks ago basically, is I was actually going to put quite a bit in, and it is frustrating because I had this good feeling that it was going to go up. How much it was going to go up, I wouldn't expect it to be basically going up to 39, 36. So that was definitely a surprise. So congratulations to those that actually saw the potential value in GameStop and are reaping the rewards for it. Moving on to, Esports Entertainment, GMBL. Basically, one that I've also been looking at a little bit, just through its fluctuations. It is not something that I get a whole lot of news on, so I can't really speak too much to it, but it definitely has just kind of an interesting pattern every so often that I'm always trying to look at. Overall, just something to basically take into consideration when it comes to investing, that you want to know what the companies actually are. I'm actually just going to get rid of a few of my lines here because they are slightly bothering me as of right now, but make it a little bit more clean for everybody to basically see. Basically, I'm just using a different window chart. I've kind of forgot to take most of these things out. They get a little bit distracting, but other than that, a little bit of potential here watching GMBL. Again, this is one that I need to do a little bit more research on. American market equity there. SLGG Super League Gaming. That is another American market one. Again, SLGG up 5.11% today. Super League Gaming has actually been making quite a bit of news as of recently, and as we can see from the past few months, they've kind of been struck down a little bit, making approaches to try to kind of break free from that little pit that they've basically created for themselves. Latest news as of January 14th is that Super League Gaming in 2020 had surpassed 2 billion video views, which is nearly 20 times the number in 2019. So that was a lot of big news, a lot of potential in regards to that. How much revenue they're getting from it, that is a different question. Video views, great and all, but are you getting revenue? Are you getting engagement? Things like that. Things to really consider if you are researching into investing in SLGG. Here, one of my, and I don't mean here as in the location, I mean here as in can you hear, HEAR, Turtle Beach. This is the headset company, if you're not familiar with them. They have been a thorn in my side for a little while. I've been spanked by these guys a lot of the times when I try to get over that $20 mark. Really always kind of disrupts what my flow is. Usually I'm not investing in them, I'm just trying to get a quick trade out of them. But I always get a bit cautious because, as you can see, a lot of the times they go up and then they get smacked down hard, and I'm not 100% sure why. But the good news is that they are going up. Now, Turtle Beach is definitely benefiting from the COVID crisis overall, with people buying headsets, people trying to get engaged with their coworkers, people just playing games. A lot of their headsets and everything have been in popular demand. If they stay at 22.43, that'll be very good. However, I've just always been punished every time I look at this stock and I try to get into it, so it's not something that I'm particularly looking at or particularly watching. ATVI, Activision Blizzard, everyone knows this one. American Equity as well, big game company. As we can see, absolutely stellar performance for the long run. Basically, great defensive stock, I think, because they make video games. What else do you want from a company? They make video games, they're pumping them out, and they're usually pretty good quality. Some people might debate me on that one, but overall, people are enjoying them. Call of Duty Warzone and Call of Duty Black Ops obviously selling. A lot of interested capital that are going into there. A lot of professional capital as well. A lot of funds. Definitely one that we are going to be watching in the future as they do more releases. And most importantly, as they do their quarterly reviews. We have one called Plyteca Holdings. Now, I don't think I can particularly show very much here. That's primarily because I believe that these guys IPO'd as of recently, so I don't really have too much information on them. And they're up 2.47%, but I don't have too much to talk about there. So let's just move on to Electronic Arts here. EA, American Equity, everyone knows them. Everyone may or may not like them. Just depends on what, I guess, game you're playing. EA's been having a bit of a tough time. I noticed that when we were watching EA during the Battlefield 5 launch, basically, a lot of issues with that one. Battlefield 5, I personally was hoping that it would be a great game. I was really hoping for it to take off, but as of recently, EA has been obviously, they have a diverse portfolio of games. And with that being said, they do have a lot of things to offer overall, but their level right now, even though they're at 141, they have been at 148 in 2018, I believe. So they have been at this level, and then that cracked and crashed all the way down to about $76 in 2019. So it's not unrealistic to see a bit of momentum, and then perhaps, we'll see that momentum go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to be very, very cautious with looking at this one. Depends on their game releases, depends on what they're doing. Obviously, the new Battlefield is kind of being announced. There's a little bit of hinting and teasing at that one, so I definitely want to see what happens with that. But we'll have to wait and see what comes out in the near future. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at them. Now, AMD has done a very interesting maneuver here. Basically, they were poised to go over $100, and I was very excited to basically see something that would be a little bit more dynamic than what they've been primarily trading at. They've been kind of hovering around this $80 mark and everything like that. These guys have skyrocketed, obviously, since coming out with the new CPU processors, also entering in the GPU race, facing off with NVIDIA and Intel. They have given Intel a few sucker punches here and there, and really, I think, hurt their stock just because of their pricing even. The pricing is affordable. I was an Intel dedicated person until, after a while the price starts hurting, so I switched over to AMD. And I think a lot of gamers are looking at something a little bit more different these days, so they might actually be switching over to AMD as well. And we'll see in their quarterly report how well they've done. So I might be watching this one for, a bit of an increase again. I mean, I have no doubt that they'll probably go over $100. I'm fairly certain that they will. But, I mean, obviously I can't make any guarantees. The market's a tumultuous little area to be in. But AMD, might be a good time to get back in. Moving on to NVIDIA. NVIDIA had a bit of issues primarily with their... there's a report, I can't confirm, I can't deny, basically sort of thing where the Uyghurs in China, the technology basically being used to track them was supplied by NVIDIA, I believe. There was a bit of some news about that. Again, I don't have too many developments in regards to that. I don't think the market particularly cared about that. I know that Intel was also involved with it as well, but I'm not sure if particularly anyone had too much of a concern about that. I don't really mean to be callous, but the market is a very callous place. Other than that, though, I've been just watching it. I got a little nervous. Basically, I don't want to see it fall below 500 again, because when it fell below 500, I really expected that to tumble a little bit more, lose a lot of momentum. But it's kind of holding. We're going to basically see a little bit later what happens with that one. In regards to Take-Two Interactive, TTWO, also kind of on the increase, but again, one of those defensive stocks that I think most people have in their kind of aggressive portfolios. A lot of increase over the time. Obviously, Take-Two Interactive releasing Red Dead Redemption, and with the announcement of GTA, I'm sure is going to absolutely blow some people's minds. Billions of dollars to be made there, if anything. So we're definitely going to be watching that one in the near future. I don't have too much to say about them, other than as of January 13th, there was announcing. Take-Two Interactive announced a lapse of offer to acquire Codemasters. So we're going to be kind of watching that one. Codemasters, very well known for their racing games, and if you did play Faces of War, they're kind of a bit of a jankier third-person kind of games. I mean, they're great games. I love them, but they were janky. Let's look at Dell real quick, because Dell's an interesting one that I don't think is being talked about a lot in the gaming community. Now, they had a rough time in March here, but they have steadily increased and basically regained everything that they had lost, plus a little bit more. Trading at 74.86 right now. I'm not 100% sure what to think of Dell. I mean, what they have available right now, and what I've been seeing is really, in regards to the gaming world, I don't see a lot of push to advertise. At least I haven't been targeted, and I'm fully involved with the gaming, everything, gaming equipment. I'm doing research. My browser should be full of it. The cookies should be there. All the cache. I don't clear that out usually. So basically, I'm surprised I haven't seen many ads for Dell. Now that I've said it and my phone's nearby, I might see them. But other than that, I mean, I don't really know what to say about them. I really don't have too much to say about them, other than, hopefully their sales for home sales, I guess, on laptops and everything might increase, but no guarantees there. Intel Corp. Intel, we were talking about, again, their technology being used in China for potential questionable ethics, if anything. They've been kind of all over the place here. So, my main concern was when they went below $50. It was something that I was like, I don't know what's going to happen about that. But they have changed their CEO, I believe, as of recently. So the markets responded positively to that. And, they're hoping Intel can, kick it right back to AMD and really put them hot on their heels to catch up. But we will see what happens with that. There's no guarantee. Obviously, everything's kind of up in the air with that. But Intel's new board might be something that might be very interesting to see. So just keep in mind what they're going to be announcing. Corsair, rough while for right now. Especially ever since it seems to reach $44. Can't quite crack past that. Gets beaten down again. Has been basically getting beaten up for the past 4 days and going all the way down to 37.73, not including aftermarket, of course, but we'll just use end of day. Something that I have personally, I think that this is a good long one. I mean, Corsair is not just hardware. Or I shouldn't say just hardware, but basically they do have the peripherals, they have the cooling fans, they have the towers. They obviously have a lot under their belt. So they are a little bit new to the market overall. They did IPO as of recently within the last 6 months. So they haven't really had a chance to find their ground just yet. But hopefully they will soon. Moving on to Logitech, LOGI, American Equity, everyone knows it. Basically, they've been doing amazing since March, moving up from 40 all the way to 97.73. Obviously, Logitech has their headphones, they have their speakers, they have a lot of equipment like mice and keyboards, everything like that. If you don't have Logitech lying around, I'm not 100% sure what you're using. But overall, excellent company that is something that I wish I got into a little bit earlier. I just didn't think of it. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world. And plus they pay a little bit of a dividend too, which is also kind of nice out of all the gaming companies. So as of today, a little bit of a rough day, basically going down 3.15%. They've been kind of getting beaten up ever since the 14th here. But of course, it's stocks, and I'm sure they will be fine overall. So I'm a little bit too pricey for me to particularly get interested in, but it's not unheard of that they're going to basically dominate the market as they usually do as a mainstream piece of equipment. We also want to look at Score Media. A lot of people might kind of say, well, why are you looking at Score? They're not just esports. Well, I know they're not just esports, but they've been doing a tremendous amount of, basically a tremendous job since March and everything like that. They've increased exponentially, trading at $3.30 and having like a low of like 31 cents. I mean, my biggest regret was I was in it for a while there, but I didn't hold. I should have held for the rest of the year. But of course, a lot of their growth and everything is based on a lot of sports, and they are moving, I think, to secure some betting, gambling, basically, rights in here in Canada. So that'll be interesting to see. Again, I'm just trying to brief over some of the information. As of recently, on the 13th, they did release their Q1 financial results. So obviously, market responding very well to that. We also have Engine Media, GAME. Don't confuse that one with GameStop. I know GameStop is GME. This is GAME. So basically, Engine Media, the chart basically says it all. I don't have too much to say about it. I don't know too much about what they're doing as well. I know they are involved with streaming. As of the 14th, they did report that their numbers from 2020 are up 69%. However, obviously the market isn't particularly too interested in increasing them by very much. Volume on them is very, very low. Nothing I'm particularly too keen on watching. It is a Canadian equity, by the way. Same with Score Media, SCR, that I'm looking at here. These are Canadian funds, but like I said, not too much interesting action. But other than that, that's basically most of the stocks that I want to kind of cover. Again, this was just a test video. I hope that there's some sort of information that you can get, and we're definitely taking suggestions on what needs to be improved, and just basically let us know. Give us a shout in the comments. info@nesthq.online is our email. Again, that's info@nesthq.online if you have any suggestions. We hope to bring you a bit more information, a bit more je ne sais quoi, basically. More content, and just something that's going to help you navigate these markets as well. And like I said, I promise every single time we do this, something will be fixed. We'll try to fix the audio, whatever the case might be. We'll see if we'll do this a weekly thing. Most likely, it's probably going to be more helpful to do it every single day. So hopefully we can, again, improve and let us know if there's anything that you'd like to see. Other than that, I want to thank you very much for tuning in and basically sticking with me here. Again, mostly every day, probably around 4 o'clock. We'll try to keep that to that schedule. No guarantees. Markets and work here has been a little bit crazy, but other than that, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate that, and have a wonderful rest of the night. We will see you tomorrow.